Hello everyone, welcome to a Replica Airguns comparison video. We're taking a look at two Makarov replica styled, I'll call them BB pistols. One is a 4.5mm BB pistol shooting steel BBs. The other is an Airsoft 6mm pistol that shoots 6mm Airsoft BBs. So steel BBs 4.5mm, Airsoft 6mm BBs. Now this is primarily the tabletop comparison portion. I will be doing a dedicated shooting comparison video for you down the road. Now I will be showing a little bit of footage of me shooting them, but not with multi-cameras or anything, just with my pivot head camera. Now I do that sort of preliminary test so that I can give you some feedback during this tabletop comparison video. So let's get at the specifications right now. And by the way, both guns are available in our Replica Airgun stores. I believe the Umarex is available in our Canada and US store, while the KWC Airsoft is available in our Canada store. Alright, so both of these guns shoot 12-gram CO2 cartridges. Both of them are non-blowback. And again, the KWC is a 6mm plastic Airsoft BB, while the Umarex is a 4.5mm steel BB. The KWC has a claimed FPS of roughly 428, while the Umarex has a claimed FPS of 380. The KWC has a 13-shot magazine, although I was able to easily put 14 rounds in it, while the Umarex has an 18-shot magazine. The KWC has a full-size dropout magazine that holds the BBs and the CO2, while the Umarex has the BB-only magazine stick. The CO2 goes in the handle, I'll show you that later. Now the KWC comes in at 1 pound 12.5 ounces, so 808 grams, while the Umarex weighs 1 pound 9.5 ounces, so just a bit lighter, and that's 724 grams for us Canadians. Now both guns are mostly metal construction, and both guns are made in Taiwan. And I'll quickly show you, they do come in these cardboard boxes. Okay, so that's kind of nice. The KWC is a little bit bigger, but a cardboard box nonetheless. They both come with manuals. The KWC comes with an Allen key and a small box of BBs. Now I don't have an actual real Makarov to show you here, but both guns are fairly true copies of the real steel Makarov, and you can see they're both pretty much identical in size. You can see that they have rather different finishes. The Umarex Makarov leaning more towards the high gloss, with the KWC leaning more towards the matte finish. Neither one is really a true blued finish. Alright, so we're going to kind of walk around both of these guns simultaneously. Now as I said, they're all pretty much metal construction, metal slides, metal frames, metal triggers. Most of the mechanical parts are metal on both guns. I'll get into that a bit more. Metal magazines, plastic grips. Let's take a quick look at the left side of the Makarov. You'll see we have Makarov licensing here. Nice feature. Now there is a plastic safety switch on the Umarex BB Makarov. Both guns do not have a working slide catch release, although the Makarov, the Umarex Makarov, does have a working slide. And by the way, that will cock the hammer for you as well, which is nice. So the Makarov, the Umarex Makarov, does have a double and single action trigger. The Makarov is field strippable. If you want to watch that, you can watch my other video. I do have another video where I've actually done a tabletop review of the Makarov. I'll put links there to my other videos for you so you can check that out. But this is fully field strippable. Now to get at the CO2 on the Umarex Makarov, you have to pull the grips back, and you have the CO2 that has the regular bottom tab, which is a little bit ugly there, but nice. Now they both have the nice star on the grips. Both have fairly nice grips. We'll take a quick look at the stick magazine while we're here. It just falls out via gravity, so sometimes you have to work at it a little bit. Just a typical stick mag. Pop that down. Load your BBs from the top. You have to put your finger on the other side or they fall through. 18 BBs. Release it and put it back in the magazine or in the handle. Pretty much that's it for the left side. So we'll take a quick look at the KWC Makarov. No working slide, working safety, and I'm not sure, it feels like it could be metal. I think that's a metal safety, but both of them, you know, have that nice working safety. Again, no working slide catch or release because it doesn't have a working slide. Sorry about the focus here. Get that back, there you go. Metal trigger, which is nice on both guns. Same though, the grips don't go back on this one because the magazine is full-size dropout. As you can see here, we have the full-size dropout metal magazine. And as I said, I can get 14 rounds in this magazine. No ugly tab on the bottom, but you do need an Allen key. And it's all metal, which adds weight to the gun. So there you go. Not too much more to say, really. There's no branding or licensing really on this side. Let's take a look at the other side quick here. Now you'll notice there's no engraving on the slide here. It does say KWC made in Taiwan. That's really the only markings here. Again, no licensing. One thing I want to point out once I focus here is we do have these screws. Can't really get in too tight, but we do have the screw holes on the side of the slide here, and unfortunately that takes away a little bit from the appearance, in my opinion. Alright, so let's quickly take a look at the other side. Now again, want to mention we do have the license or the warning instruction, which some people don't like. Sometimes it's a liability thing, so it's on a lot of Umarex guns, but that's the way it is. Okay, again, slide goes back, open ejection port, which is nice. Okay, the only way to lock the slide back, by the way, I'll just show you that, is to put it in, it's kind of a trick, you have to put it in safe mode. But you can lock it back. I don't know if that's great for the gun, mind you. Alright. Quickly look at the top. Not a whole lot to show you here. You do have your just front and back sight. Nothing fancy, no markings on it really. Okay, you do have single and double action trigger with an the actual hammer stays back. Okay, whereas it's just kind of a pseudo sort of pretend. You can't hold it back. You can see how the actual internal hammer makes it move back and forth. Okay, you have just your regular notch, post sights, no real markings again, no actual open ejection port. Okay, bottom again, looks a lot nicer on the bottom with the full size mag without the actual CO2 tab. You do get a bit of a seam that runs along the bottom here. But you also have a recessed barrel on this one, which is more true to scale. I do like that. Let's take a quick look. Again, bottom, you've got your reset, you've got your CO2 tab, your small stick mag, little cleaner as far as the grooves go or the seam goes. Again, field strippable, so the trigger guard actually moves down, it's field strippable, but you don't have a recessed barrel on this one. Okay, that may be just because it's a short barreled gun and Umarex wanted to get all the FPS they could out of it, and that makes sense. Alright, let's pop them down for a bit here. Alright, at this point I am going to show you my pre-test video that I made for you using my pivot head camera glasses. And so basically all I did is I shot some rounds through the chronograph, then I went back to 20 feet in a semi-rested position, fired some shots into my target in a semi-rested position, and then I proceeded to test how many shots I could actually get out of each gun with one CO2. So let's take a look at that video now. Alright everyone, we're all set up for the pre-test. I've got my 4.5mm Umarex Makarov and my 6mm KWC Makarov here. We're going to shoot some rounds through the chronograph, then go back and shoot some rounds at the target. So let's get started. Shot 1, 392, and we're expecting about 380. 391. An error there. My chronograph has been acting up a little bit, so let's just see if we can get a couple more through it here. We might just have to go with those few. I don't know, I might need a new battery, but let's just try a couple more here. Not having much luck. So we had those two that were up in the 390s. I'm not going to fight my system today. This is just a pre-test. Let's see if the larger Airsoft BBs read a little better. This gun should shoot around 420. 480, wow, nice. Brand new CO2s in both of these guns. 473, nice and hot. 472, I think that's enough to give us an idea what this gun shoots. This is just a pre-test. Now these are 0.20 gram BBs. So we're gonna head back. I'm gonna shoot the 4.5mm version first. and we'll shoot some rounds into this target from 20 feet out in a semi-rested position. Okay, so here we go. Again, I'm just going to shoot in double action to keep, well, you know what? Let's shoot in single action. This gun is capable of it, and let's see if that makes a difference. Yikes. Oh, you know what? I'm shooting my bag. So that always doesn't help. We're going to just, it's a short barrel here, so we're going to pull it back here and try that again. So this is shot one. The barrel was just touching the bag, which was redirecting the BB. That doesn't help things at all. So here we go again. That's better. Shot one. Shot two. 3, 4. Alright, that should give us a good idea. We're going to switch the targets real quick. Then we're going to shoot the 6mm version. So, 4 shots right there, 1 up. But still, these were well within an inch. And then we had to stray up there just a little bit. So let's just grab a new target. And I'm just going to take this one right off. Okay. Let's see how well this fairly beefy little Makarov does. I mean, shooting right up there. I won't make the same mistake. I'll shoot a little higher on this bag here. And let's see if the Airsoft version can do about the same. Really long trigger. 2, 3, 4. Getting used to it though. This gun looks to shoot really well. Wow. Not bad. 1, 2, 3, all in the bullseye. I mean, doesn't have adjustable sights from what I can tell here, but it doesn't need it at this point. This gun shoots very fast, maybe too fast for some situations, but well on target, nice accuracy. Bit of a long, creepy trigger, but it's not heavy, it's just long. Now, in an airsoft battle, when you're shooting fairly fast, I don't think that would really matter too much. Whereas the 4.5mm version definitely has a nicer trigger, especially in single action. Alright, so let's head inside and finish up this tabletop comparison video. Alright, so basically my conclusion with the pre-testing is that the Umarex definitely has a little bit better trigger in double action, and of course it has a single action trigger. Now the KWC shoots just fine, but the trigger is long, and I found that I actually had to hold the trigger with more of the tip of my finger so that I could get a full pull on it without my finger getting all kind of crunched in at the end. Now the Umarex did get more shots per CO2. I was able to get 9 18-round magazines, so that's 162 shots, versus 8 14-round magazines with the KWC, which is 112 shots. Now that is probably because the KWC does get higher feet per second, right up into the 490s, while the Umarex, even though it was higher than claimed, was shooting right at around 390 FPS. Now both guns shot really well at the 20-foot range, with the KWC being right dead center on target, so being that neither gun has adjustable sights, that's a good thing. Now while I'm shooting, I generally find a can that I'll put out there about 40 feet away, and I'll just shoot out there just to get a feel for both guns, and both of them were very capable at that range. I was able to hit the can with the majority of my shots from either gun. So again, I'll just quickly show you these targets. This is the Umarex. You can see 4 shots right there within almost a half an inch with 1 stray. And then we have our KWC, which again was right dead center, and all the shots hit the black, so not bad at all. Alright, so at this point I'm going to get into some of the pros and the cons. So I'm going to be saying something nice about one and then something nice about the other, going that way, and then at the end I'll do some cons for both guns. So starting with the pros, the Umarex is the only one of the two with a working slide, and that's a nice touch, while the KWC has a full-size dropout magazine, more realistic. The Umarex has a double and single action trigger, while the KWC has the recessed barrel. The Umarex does get more shots per CO2, while the KWC has a higher feet per second performance. Now the Umarex can be fully field stripped, which is nice, but the KWC Makarov does have a bit more weight to it. Now the Umarex Makarov is licensed with the Makarov licensing, while the KWC version does not have the warning instructions on the right side, which some people prefer not to see on their air guns. Now both guns have very realistic working safeties true to the real steel versions. So some of the cons: the Umarex does have that obvious CO2 tap at the bottom of the handle, while the KWC has the unfortunate screws on the right side of the slide. The Umarex may be a bit shiny for some with the high gloss finish, while the KWC Makarov may shoot a bit too high for some CQB airsoft games. Now neither gun has adjustable sights. Alright, so that concludes this tabletop comparison review for the Umarex Makarov 4.5mm steel BB pistol and the KWC Makarov 6mm plastic airsoft pistol. I hope you've enjoyed this tabletop comparison review, and make sure to look for the upcoming field test or shooting comparison for both of these guns. So again, these guns are available in our replica airgun stores. If you're interested in some other products like blank guns, accessories, of course BB, pellet, and airsoft guns, we have those in our store for you. I also post a written review for all of my videos that I make here on YouTube, so make sure to come down to the Replica Airguns website and check those written posts out. A lot of times I'll include some nice photos there for you, and sometimes additional information. Alright, so make sure to subscribe before you leave. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Username is Replica Airguns. So thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.